Pleased to meet you. Nice to know me, Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael. Lee Sanders here of the RCWR show and Impact Showdown, coming at you with another album review. This time around, we're going to take a look at the 20th anniversary edition of Nirvana's In Utero. It was the band's third and final album to be released. And what better way to pretty much kick off an album review for the month of September than talking about this album, as 20 years ago, on September 13th, Nirvana's third album was released, and a lot of people had looked at that album as such a beautiful masterpiece. I know myself personally, and I'm a hardcore Nirvana fan, I had really enjoyed that album more than the Nevermind album, as it seemed to go in a bit more of a sinister and darker tone. At least that's just my overall take from that album, whereas Nevermind kind of seemed a little bit more poppy, if you will. Didn't really have too many dark songs going on when you kind of think about that album. Maybe one or two stood out, but definitely with the In Utero album, Kurt and the gang, they definitely were hitting some pretty dark places. You know, a friend of mine, he had hit me up about last week, and he said, Lee, hey man, I was able to get my hands on the 20th anniversary edition of this album. Do you want to check it out? And I told him, I said, yeah, sure, man. What the hell? I love checking out stuff. Hell, I even love reviewing it. And I know there's definitely a hardcore base of you out there, you hardcore Nirvana fans, that's waiting patiently for folks to review this album so that you can try to figure out if this is definitely one that's worth checking out. Well, I hope that this brutally honest review can kind of help you make up your own mind on whether or not you should check this out. Now, this In Utero album has about 70 tracks, and the way that they have done this, you get on disc 1 the actual album as it had perfectly sounded when it had came out, as it was released. Sounds like it might be remastered just a little tiny bit, but for the most part everything is still the same as you have come to know and love it, with a couple of exceptions. Now, on this first disc, and I'm actually looking at the track list right now for you guys, on this first disc you get 20 tracks. Now, pretty much things start to pick up right around, I would say, after track 13, Gallons of Rubbing Alcohol Flow. After that, you get Dave Grohl, of course, when he stepped in to do vocals for Marigold. That's a B-side. You get Moist Vagina, a 2013 mix. Sappy, a 2013 6. I Hate Myself and I Want to Die, 2013 mix. Penny Royalty, Scott Litt mix. Heart Shaped Box, original Steve Albini, looks like 1990, bear with me here folks, looks like 1993 mix. All Apologies, Steve Albini, 1993 mix. So you got 20 tracks right there. Now, I know some of you guys are probably kind of confused, and you're probably saying to yourself, 2013 mix, what's going on? Well, it's exactly as you think. They have mixed it. So I'll talk a little bit more about how the mixing had went on this, but let's continue to go through the rest of this 20th deluxe set here. Disc 2. Now, everything that you hear on disc 2 is all 2013 mixes. Now, a good example of this is to compare from In Utero's Dumb to the 2013 mix, and this kind of gives you an idea of what to expect on that second disc. Basically, when you hear all the songs again on disc 2, Kurt's vocals sound more clear. It sounds just slightly more isolated. You can hear the richness in every single instrument that's played, whereas opposed to disc 1, the original album that was released to the public back in 93, it sounds good, but it sounds a little bit muffled. But at the same time, there's a little bit of slightly new arrangements, just a tad bit was what I was picking up, but it's still staying very true to what had came about from the initial album that was released. But again, Kurt's vocals, they sound more clear. The musical arrangements in the instruments, you can hear those more clear. I definitely would say Dumb is a very standout track for you guys that will get your hands on this to be able to check out and compare, and you'll definitely notice the difference yourself. I know I was kicking back and I was listening to this whole album with a friend of mine, and we both were comparing notes, and we definitely had matched up pretty much on every single thing as far as our comparisons to how disc 1 sounded to disc 2. Now, also on disc 2, you do get a few demos that are worth checking out, and these demos did not make it to the Nirvana with the Lights Out box set that came out several years ago. Remember, that was pretty much courtesy of Courtney Love, Dave Grohl, and Kurt Novoselic pretty much working on some type of a deal to release that box set. And I'm also going to talk a little bit more about that box set for those of you that may have purchased that and you're looking at this and you're wondering if this is the right fit for you. But these demos that are on disc 2, they did not make it to that With the Lights Out box set. Now, the demos, they're definitely worth checking out. You get instrumental versions in here as well. The demos that you get Scentless Apprentice, Francis Farmer Will Have Her Revenge, and then the instrumentals start to come in. It looks like you get about maybe 5 tracks that are instrumentals. That's Dumb, Very Ape, Pennyroyal Tea, Radio Friendly Suit Shifter, Torettis, and then it closes out with a couple of more demos, which is Marigold. And I shall warn you guys, some of you may question what time frame Marigold was recorded, because when you compare it vocal wise to how Dave Grohl sounds today when he sings the song, some of you may question whether or not that the time frame of the album. Some of you may question exactly the time period that this demo was done, because it strikingly sounds very similar to how Grohl's vocals are today. But this is a demo and it's a completely different arrangement. It's just pretty much Dave Grohl with the guitar and he's playing. So a really good song that really stands out to me. Closes out also with All Apologies. Forgotten Tune, that is the only new track that probably we've like never heard before from the Nirvana catalog up to this point. It's 2 minutes 5 seconds. It's a great freaking track. It's so damn good. I won't say it's worth checking that, buying the whole album to check it out, but I will definitely say it's a damn great tune. And of course, that's followed up by Jam, which is a demo. Now, that one I thought was also kind of new as well, as I've never heard that one before. But definitely Forgotten Tune is the most newest track, as I know some of you other hardcore Nirvana fans, you may be able to point out to me where Jam has resurfaced before. But Forgotten Tune definitely has not surfaced before. It's making its debut in this box set. Disc 3 is pretty much Live and Loud, and by this being Live and Loud, this disc 3, it's pretty much from Live at the Pier 48 in Seattle, Washington, December 13th, 1993. Now, I'm not really going to touch that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the songs sound good, but I also know that for those of you that buy that super deluxe edition, you're going to get a DVD that's attached to it, which, if I'm not mistaken, is going to show the performance from Live at the Pier 48. And I have the strongest feeling that eventually that may be a standalone piece that will probably premiere on VH1 Classic, you know, Panorama, whatnot. I think it's going to be making its rounds there eventually. Look, it didn't take that long for that Mad Season live concert to appear on the music channels, so I don't see why this wouldn't follow in its same footsteps, right? Right. Now, that's pretty much breaking it down for you guys. Now, as far as the artwork goes for this, as I know there's one box set edition that's like pretty much vinyl, and you get all the goodies that I just mentioned, and you get some cool artwork and all that. To my knowledge, from what I was able to gather, it doesn't really seem like you're getting not too much insight from Grohl and the gang as far as the recording of that album. It's just basically a bunch of nice little pretty pictures for you to look at, and basically it's like $125. So what you really need to be asking yourself is just how much of a hardcore Nirvana fan are you? Are you a hardcore collector to the point that you feel like this is something that you must have, or are you just pressed for any type of new music that might be floating around from Nirvana? Now, if you're like me and you just care more about the new music that's floating around, then you can definitely pass on that super ultimate $125 box set, and you can just stick to the 3 disc set that is pretty much going to be floating around for about maybe $34-40. That's your best bet. Now, let's really break this down. I'm definitely one of those type of guys. I'm a little bit old school when it comes to seeing some of these albums get released. I can't help but sit up sometimes and say to myself, man, why are we touching the legacy of such a great album? Why is it that we're getting remixed stuff? Why is it that, why can't it just get remastered? Why can't it just be audio enhanced for everybody's listening pleasure? Why go back and do a couple of new arrangements and all that other silliness? And for me, when I look at the In Utero box set, when I look at the first disc, I could definitely hear the audio enhancement. I could hear the remastered version on all the tracks. I thought it was great. The second disc, however, which predominantly had 2013 mixes, I'm sorry, but for me, when I look at that and as I'm listening to it, I couldn't help but kind of say it's actually kind of hurting the legacy of the original album. As sometimes it kind of seemed good to have Kurt Cobain's voice kind of stand out more over the instruments, but then there was other times where certain things kind of felt a little odd when listening, felt like they were missing. And you guys, when you do the comparisons, you'll definitely know exactly what I'm talking about, trust me. And I definitely want to get you guys reactions to it as you listen to it as well. But for me, I think the meat and potatoes is that second disc with the demos that we've never heard, with the instrumentals that we never heard. That's the stuff that you definitely want to check out. It's that second disc that is truly the gem. Now, granted, if you can get through the 2013 mixes of the In Utero album, the initial album, you can hang with it and you can get to the demos and the instrumental stuff. It's pretty much worth the ride as you're listening to it. But other than that, I would definitely say, as far as this album goes, I don't really think that they hurt the legacy of In Utero. But at the same time, it's pretty obvious that this is a situation right here where the record label, they want to be able to make some type of money off of the Nirvana name. They want to make some type of money off of the Kurt Cobain name. This is a guy and a band that had a lot of people talking back in its day. And honestly, I don't really think they've hurt the legacy too much. But for you smart, hardcore Nirvana fans that's out there and you're just trying to own a piece of something that's never been released before, I would definitely say that CD2 from this album, from this box set here, it's definitely one you'll want to check out. If you can maybe purchase it on its own, maybe pick up a couple of key tracks, I would highly recommend that you do that. If not, if you ask me honestly, if the album is worth buying just to check out that content, I'm gonna say yes. I don't really like the 2013 mixes, but I will definitely say yes, it's worth checking out. For you guys that might be new to Nirvana and you're checking this out for the very first time, I would definitely say if you're gonna start getting into Nirvana, you want to pick up that With the Lights Out box set. That is just a beautiful freaking masterpiece in itself. I think that would really be a good introduction. I know there was a couple of years back I had got that for one of my friends who was never familiar with their Nirvana catalog but wanted to get into it. And after I got that for them, it made them want to backtrack and check out all their studio albums, the MTV Unplugged, etc. So I would definitely recommend for those new to Nirvana, pick that up before you come to this, and that maybe you'll have a new appreciation for this one before you older Nirvana fans that's out there. Definitely, I will say of a scale of 1 to 10 as far as this 20th anniversary edition goes, I would have to give it a respectful 7 out of 10. Honestly, I could have did without the 2013 mixes. I think honestly they had it right with disc 1. They should have just let that stay the way that it was. Just let it be remastered for iTunes and other different respected platforms, and then they could have followed it up with the demos, the instrumentals, and the unreleased songs that we haven't heard before, and then maybe they could have easily had that follow into the live disc. Kind of save on material and all that when you really think about it. And maybe they could have revisited some of these 2013 mixes at a later date. At least that's just my honest opinion of it. That's going to do it for this review, though. For those of you that's going to be checking this anniversary edition set, which comes out Tuesday, September 24th, I definitely want to hear from you. All you got to do is just leave your comments right down below. And what we'll do is in a couple of weeks on a weekend edition of the RCWR show, we'll follow up on what you guys had to say, as we'll read your thoughts, dislikes, likes about this box set on the air. So make sure you check that out. We'll definitely put out links for you guys so that you're able to follow us. And if this was your first time checking us out, we really hope you appreciated this video, this brutally honest review of Nirvana-In Utero's 20th anniversary box set. Make sure you give this a thumbs up. Feel free to put it into your favorites. Share it with your friends, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, you name it. Get it out there, as it's one of the many ways that you can help spread the word about our channel, as we're always posting a lot of exclusive content like this on a regular basis. Follow us on Twitter at the RCWR show. You can also like us on Facebook at Infinity One Productions. And we do shows every single Tuesday night, Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern. You can catch our simulcast shows sometimes on here, but mostly on blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR show. We also got episodes available in iTunes and Stitcher marketplaces, also on TuneIn Radio. Just use the keywords the RCWR show. I thank you guys so kindly for checking out this review. Until I hear from you guys next time around, if there's an album that you would love for me to review for you guys that I haven't reviewed yet, definitely feel free to send me a private message or post a comment down below, and I'll be more than happy to do so, as we are always open to suggestions over here. Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders, wishing all you all to be safe and be kind to one another, folks. I'll see you next time around. Do take care.